Greetings, peace, love, and light to the people watching. Quick disclaimer, my content is for educational purposes only. Can't stress enough for you guys to do your own research. Appraise my videos, content, information, messages, in case you find error. Inform me. Because none of us can live long enough to know all that transpired in the past. And we definitely can't live long enough to know all there is to learn. So with that being said, can't give you a channel name due to copyright and trademark issues, but I'm not going to allow that to stop the message. So with that being said, I'm Malik, and let's get into it, man. I wanted to get into some spiritual stuff, man, because I know it's a lot of people that probably aren't aware, that you have practitioners, indulging, indulging in magic, black magic specifically, and that's the reason why I decided to do this video, because I just became aware of it in the last several months. It's a lot more people engaging in this stuff than you would probably think. And it's important, for people to be cognizant of it and learn different things you can do to protect yourself. So with that said, the first thing I want to enlighten you guys about is what they refer to as energy vampires. And I have a definition I'm going to read to you guys. An energy vampire is a person who is extremely self-centered and self-serving. They use and manipulate other people for their own gain. They're obsessed with power and status, thinking life's all about attaining these things. Consequently, they end up preying on people's energy and creating a lot of negativity. Okay, along with energy vampires, I suggest, if this is resonating so far, and you think you may be, around some people like this, especially if it's on a dark level, and you really, like, if you empathic like me and you can kind of sense energy and read auras and things of that nature, look up energy harvesting, because it gets deeper than just a person being an energy vampire. And vampires don't all suck blood. It gets deeper than that. But second thing on the list is what they refer to as a sleepwalker. The definition for a sleepwalker is the vast majority of humanity at this point in time. They are asleep to the true nature of themselves. They live a mundane life controlled completely by the conditioning of society. They are in a state of dissatisfaction and unhappiness beneath the surface, desperately seeking meaning in the wrong places, even if they seem to live successful lives. I've been there, I don't feel like no punk or no faggot for, pardon the term. I'm old school, and I'm not a conformist. So, if I don't, call you particularly a name, then it's really not meant with no malice. It's just a figure of speech that I'm prone to using. So, pardon me if anybody was offended by that. But I don't feel like no punk or no faggot, for being who and what I am and being real about what that is. So, like I said, I've been there. I've been a sleepwalker, and it's been times I've seen, certain levels of success. And though nobody on the outside of me could tell or see, that shit didn't mean nothing. You know what I mean? Because internally I was still, I was unsatisfied. I wasn't happy. You know what I mean? The only thing I knew how to do was get it. So that's what I did. Next thing on the list is a positive seed. The definition for a positive seed is as follows. Technically, asleep spiritually. They are a strong positive influence upon those around them, and they don't conform to all of society's rules/perspectives. They're a mover and a shaker who is changing the status quo in a good way, seeking out more justice, equality, and positive changes to the world. But their lack of spiritual awareness holds them back, leaving them dumbfounded as to why. That's the end of the definition, but I also want to add to that vulnerable. Because when I was at this stage in my spiritual development, again, like I said, it's only been in the last several months that I've become aware of, the energy vampires who practice energy harvesting, and that just means that if you have a high vibration, first of all, you need to realize that others see you better than you see yourself. So, in light of, any of us that have or are in the sleepwalker stage of development, others see your potential long before you see it, So, it's just a point of being aware of things on a much deeper level than surface. I did a few short videos, and you might hear me, expound on certain things that I merely touched on in those videos. But, the thing is, it's a lot more to, things that you might hear me or anybody else that makes content and shares it just mention, because those of us that do research, and study, it's a lot deeper than, just talking because we got a hole in our face. But, okay. Like I said, I wanted to add being vulnerable on top of that because, all you know is what you know. All you know is what you've been exposed to. It's a lot more going on in the world than, especially if you ain't done a lot of traveling or, you're not cultured or, you just haven't studied history. Even more so if you don't know anything about metaphysics, esoterics, or the sciences that the ancients mastered and studied. So if you don't know nothing about those things, then yeah, when it comes to the things that the government has demonized, and trust me, everything of benefit to us, melanated people, ebenoids and children of the sun, whichever way you want to go with it, they've hidden, if not destroyed, everything of benefit to and for us that they could. But again, we're in the age of Aquarius, so those that know about what that entails, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Certain things you ain't going to be able to stop. Next thing on the list is aspiring manifester. The definition is as follows. A person who has started waking up to the true nature of reality, realizing the truth, that consciousness creates reality. I'm going to say that again. Consciousness creates reality. And I'll touch on that after the rest of the definition. Consequently, they choose to direct their thoughts and energy / emotions to attempt to consciously design a life of abundance, and other uplifting experiences, while caring about how their energy impacts others, taking the more efficient path to creating positive change for themselves and others by focusing on the true cause of change, which is their thoughts and state of consciousness. Yet there's a deeper level of spiritual / universal truth they haven't discovered, which proves to be their major obstacle faced in attempting to have the life their souls longs for. Their souls long for. Okay, aspiring manifester. It says the part I want to really embellish on this definition is the beginning of it. It says a person who has started waking up to the true nature of reality. Understand that in 2021, a lot of shit is being purposely and successfully hidden from the masses. So, those, who think their cup of knowledge is full and they've only been educated by our open oppressors, because we actually prisoners of war, if you really want to be real with this shit, we, especially us, and I'm talking about my people, no disrespect to nobody else, in their culture or ethnic background, but I'm about mine first. So, reality, is largely become fictitious now, because of all of the, purposeful omissions and the holding back of, along with the controlling of information. Just one example, and this is documented fact. You can look this up. What's his name? John D. Rockefeller, and what's the guy's name for Chase Manhattan Bank? The one I forget his name, Chase, but he's the one that initially amassed the wealth for that family name. Those two individuals got together and took, some very important elements of education out of the educational system, and the reason for them doing so is, and this is something that they were quoted saying, I think it was John D. Rockefeller was quoted saying this: I'm not interested in creating thinkers. I'm interested in creating workers. So, and this was in the early 1900s. Was it late 1800s or early 1900s? Don't quote me on the chronology of it, but this is something that you can actually look up and confirm its authenticity. The true nature of reality has been hidden and hoarded by the secret societies, and that goes back 2-3 centuries. But again, don't take my word for it. Do your own research. The next part I wanted to highlight is, it says that consciousness creates reality. There is a video, those that follow me on Facebook, this has been a long time ago. I'm going to find it and reshare it just so that way people, can check it out. It's an experiment that an Asian brother did. I forget his name. I don't want to say, I don't want to say it at all because I'm not certain as to the accuracy of the name. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and share it on my Facebook platform. If any of you guys watching this video are followers or were friends on that platform, then check it out. But he did an experiment. Excuse me. He did an experiment on how we as people, humans, can alter the molecular structure of water with just our thoughts, music, and or the vibrational frequency with the proper emotion attached and intention behind when you project your voice into the universe, the vibrational frequency of it. Nikola Tesla, he's another one I suggest people go ahead and look up. Because the true nature of things have been hidden. If you look at his story, that's why he died broke. And that's how the government got that information. And we should have all been living like the Jetsons. And I'm 45. So anybody my age or I think, 20, 30 years older than me, based on the inventions that he brought to the forefront, we should have been living like, the cartoons, the Jetsons, period. I know when I came out the womb, life should have been that way. But, it's a lot of millions they wouldn't have been able to make had that took place. So, you take that for what it's worth. But consciousness creates reality, man. If you, he actually had a telescope that took pictures, and they had people speak certain words or affirmations or phrases over the water, and then froze a drop of that same water, then took pictures of what the crystal looked like. And it'll blow your mind if you look at it. And the reason why I point that one out in particular is a healthy adult male or woman is 70%, give or take whatever percentage, water. The earth is 70%, give or take to whatever degree, water. So if you can change the molecular structure of water with just your thoughts and or the way, or what you say, or the music that you listen to based on its harmonic frequency, and then the vibrational frequency that is emitted from, via the speakers or your throat, then what kind of power does that actually say that we have? And why haven't they taught us that? So, I'm like my man say, I forget his name. What's his name? I forget the brother's name, but shout out to him. His favorite line is, "I'm just here to make you think." So, pardon me for, the lapse in memory, but those that, are into content, they know exactly who I'm talking to. Shout out to that brother. The next one is developing master. The definition says someone that goes beyond willful reality creation, putting most or even all worldly desires aside to learn how to live from a state of higher consciousness that allows them to manifest the will of their higher self for the highest good of all. Not to say they don't enjoy worldly things, to the contrary, they're in the universal flow, therefore can manifest more effortlessly, focusing not as much on external manifestation instead of experiencing the joy/freedom of their true limitless nature, letting that reflect outwardly in a more spontaneous/magical way in their life than their own personal desires and goals could ever achieve. Consequently, they can eventually achieve more and go further beyond those limited goals and desires, while being much happier and fulfilled in the process. Now, in order for a person to get to this level of enlightenment and or consciousness, some separation is necessary, and, being exposed to different, information, would definitely help. In light of that, I want to recommend this here book. to anybody that's, seeking and searching for more than what's readily available, So, again, I'm gonna just read the table of contents to you because, I know in my growth and development, reading this book, I got to read it a few more times. I mean, as you grow and develop and mature and gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of existence in and of itself, period. You can read, a book like this and get one understanding of it, then, 6, 7 months later, read it again and get a completely new, elevated inner, under, and overstanding of the contents of the literature. So the contents of this book, which is the Kybalion, and it's by the three initiates. I mean, this is ancient information, and it's relevant to Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes the thrice born. He was, ancient god of wisdom. He's depicted on the pyramid walls, with the long, slender beak, but, you can research him as well. Number one, after the introduction, is the Hermetic Philosophy. Again, Hermes Trismegistus. The Hermetics, this is where Plato's and a lot of them other Greek and them guys over there in Europe got their information from. So don't believe that bullshit, that they were the founders of this and the founders of that. These lying motherfuckers in their feet stink. But number one is the Hermetic Philosophy. Number two is the 7 Hermetic Principles. And I'm gonna lay them out for you real fast. All right, the 7 Hermetic Principles upon which the entire Hermetic philosophy is based are as follows. Number 1, the principle of mentalism. And that goes in to say that the all is mind and the universe is mental. And it gets into it. So, number 2, the principle of correspondence. Okay, and that says, as above, so below. As below, so above. And, it might sound simple, but until you actually do your homework on what it entails, you won't have a full understanding of it. Number 3, the principle of vibration. And that basically goes into nothing rests. Everything moves, everything vibrates. So, when they say energy doesn't die, it can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed.